using procurement, program and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Business Zone with
Crystal
and Coach Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic. And today, folks, this is National Black Business Month. And we want to send a lot of shout out today. We're going to provide you guys some great information on some Black businesses today. But first and foremost, I want to talk to my co-host. How are you doing today, co-host?
I am good. It was a quick, fast week. I've been getting ready for my vacation. And
Yeah.
so I was a combination between getting ready for vacation and as well as dealing with clients all week.
Oh,
And so it was a busy week. But I have to say, Gilbert, the highlight of my week was the Bama Brawl, because our Black folks came together, they united, and it was exciting. So everybody else that have been, I know everybody at this point is on top of what transpired on August 5th.
Yes.
And so today, in tribute to the ball, our ticker tracker or ticker tape is throw a hat and support a Black business during the month of August.
I hear that, co-host. I hear that. Before we've been supporting, on a smaller level, we've been supporting small businesses, not as much as most of us should be. But with this new call out, I'm hoping call to action, exactly. I am hoping that more people heed to this call of action and decide to support more Black businesses, man. So throw out that hat, co-host. Throw it out. Throw it out.
Hat, man, and let's support each other and let's support each other's business. And we're going to talk about today why that's so important. But I felt so much pride that we can't, it's like we know that there was opposition during slavery. We do know that, right?
Yeah,
but it sometimes feels like we're just sitting waiting for the nonsense to happen, and we're always victimized, right? So it felt like a sense of pride, but even more so than that, it felt like the other ethnicities as well came to support us as well, because it was good because we live in the country was based upon a come one, come all. Isn't that part of it was come one, come all. Yes. Now, we didn't get to come on a volunteer basis. And nobody sent a cruise ship over to pick us up. And we were waiting at the dock to get on. That ain't how we got here. So, but we were actually forcibly taken to get here. So, we deal with that. But, all since we've been here since the 1700s, we have been struggling to be part of the majority here, to be part of, to be able, and we're not asking for handouts. We want to just take care of ourselves. But every time even we do that there's opposition to that. So, us celebrating us is an important thing. Us uniting is even more so important. And I love to see this as the president, as the focus that we take from here on, supporting each other, supporting our businesses, supporting legislation, going out to vote, because it's very important today. And so today we're going to talk about Black business and why it's so why there is a National Black Business Month. And why it's so important that we talk about Black business. And so that's what we're going to do this week.
And this is not just here in California, folks. This is all over the country. It's National Black Business Month. And this was established in support of Black businesses. So small Black businesses can get a seat at the table. And before we get started, we want to make sure our listeners are properly tuned in to us. We're here on YouTube Live. We're also on LinkedIn Live and Facebook Live. But my co-host is going to tell you guys how to go ahead and subscribe and make sure you support us so we can provide you guys information. So, co-host, you want to tell them a little bit about how to go ahead and subscribe?
Will. So you guys can go on over to our YouTube channel, The Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert, and hit that subscribe button. And every week when we go live, you will get a notification that we are going on the air. In fact, you get multiple notifications throughout the morning that we're coming on at 3:00. So hit that subscribe button. We are on a campaign to increase our subs to 5,000. So we need your help in order to do that. And all it takes is a click of the button and a like if you like the show. We have been on the air for 7 years as of August 7th, actually, which is my grandbaby's neat birthday. So more of a
So that's a memorable day for you.
Memorable day. So this we've been on. So there are over 700 videos archived there on every aspect of doing business. So you can binge on us and you can learn a lot. Gilbert and I both have over 30 years apiece of business experience as well as information. I say we're subject matter experts in our area of expertise.
And I endorse that.
You endorse that?
I endorse that.
We're very passionate about helping others succeed and to achieve success in their business. So go on, check us out, but make sure you go over there and hit that subscribe button.
And just so you guys all know, my co-host said we have over 700 videos throughout our podcast journey here on the Business Zone. That is true. And just so you know, there are amazing stats out there on podcasts. Not too many, most of the popular podcasts out there, right? They don't have as many as even 500 videos. We have 700. So that put us in the top echelons of the 0.5% of all podcasts out there. So we're going to go over those stats and those numbers later, but I just want to let you guys know that we're not just doing this just to do this. We're doing this to serve a purpose, focus on Black and small businesses, and make sure you guys get what you need out of this to grow your business the right way. As a matter of fact, co-hosts, I want to share these stats on Black businesses. 10% of all U.S. businesses are Black-owned businesses.
Oh, wow.
10%. And I'm going to repeat that. 10% of of all U.S. businesses are Black-owned businesses. And the Black businesses account for 30% of all minority businesses.
Wow.
I'm going to say that again. Black businesses account for 30% of all minority businesses, minority-owned businesses, and we would like that number to go up. Wouldn't mind having it at 50%. That would be a nice number. But, we're at 30% right now in an upward trend. So I just want to share that right now so folks understand that.
And then, it's a little bit even more than our business, our culture, we come up, we're very innovative, and that's what we're going to talk about and I was telling someone the other day, and I've said this many, many times, Gilbert, right out of slavery. I mean, Emancipation, 1865, right out of slavery, these people had tattered shirts, tattered shoes, no idea,
no money,
been kicked out of their slave homes, and they were able to
start their own businesses
using the skills. And it's right now, and I don't know if you've heard, but down in Florida, there's Ron DeSantis, the governor in Florida, is saying that slavery was slavery, but these people benefited from slavery because they acquired skill sets that they were able later to utilize in order to make money. Now that's the twist that's being used today.
Well,
Is that
he's a professional idiot because he has no clue what that was all about. It is said that privilege is invisible to those who have it.
right?
Privilege is invisible to those who have it. He's out of privilege, so he has no clue what went on. Our people were oppressed. We were beaten. We were tortured. We were stepped on. They stepped on our necks, and we were able to come out of that stuff. Think of it. Even though slavery was abolished in 1863, they kept it from most of us for 2 years. So they got some free labor out of us. Free labor out of us for 2 years, right?
Right.
And then in 1865, they finally realized they couldn't hold it from us any longer. So then they say, oh, I should have told you guys 2 years ago. But, my bad. You guys are now free. You can go. Okay. And immediately, 90% of us say, screw this. We are not going to work for the man anymore. As a matter of fact, we don't even want to be near the man anymore. So we're going to start our own business. So in 1866, 1 year after, 1866 and 1867, Black people start becoming entrepreneurs. They start forming their own business, providing services to their group because they couldn't sell to any other group.
Right, exactly.
So they're selling to their own group. They're providing services and products. And one of the pioneers who came out of that in 1867, 2 years after the emancipation of slavery, was Madam C.J. Walker.
Right.
Madam C.J. Walker, a Black entrepreneur. She was the first female millionaire in this country. You see what I'm saying?
Right. And the economics of the United States was built off of slavery. It was built off free labor. Just think about it. Doing what I do for a living, right? When I look at your profit and loss and you have employees, that represents at least 45 to 75% of the expenses, your operating expenses.
Right.
Take that out. Exclude that from the equation.
Yeah.
Just how much money do you think you make if you had no employees?
Exactly.
Right? So, I mean, the stats are if you're a solopreneur, you generally your annual revenue would be about $53,000 a year, right? Because that's just you working, because you can only do so much by yourself,
right.
But imagine you having free labor and you have thousands of slaves that are producing your product for you, how much money you can make. So I'm looking here at tobacco. In 1662, they were able to harvest over 60,000 pounds of tobacco, which represented $1.5 million in 1639.
Say that number again.
60,000 pounds that equated to $1.5 million.
Wow.
British was importing more than 20 million pounds of tobacco per year. There was an over excess. I went to see the movie, and then let's go to cotton, right? In 1794, when the cotton gin was patented, they produced over 100 pounds in hours. But that meant somebody had to be out there picking. So between 1801 to to 1835 alone, the U.S. cotton exports grew 100,000 bales to more than 1 million. That's
Wow.
from 1801 to 1835. They were producing over 1 million bales of cotton, which was being picked by slaves as young as 5 and 6 years
Oh
old.
my Lord.
So, and that was free labor.
Mm-hmm.
That was free labor. So if anyone thinks that we benefited from it, you got to be out of your damn mind.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep, I hear that. See,
So
this guy has no clue. I think he's just saying those things just to make people think he has some talking points. But you know, his argument is flawed. It has no substance. It has no truth or validity to it. So he's just like a talking head out there, just talking smack.
yeah, exactly. So the stats is I'm reading how much money did slavery make in the South? It said the racial wealth gap begins with slavery itself, which was a huge wealth generator for white Americans. The economic value of 4 million slaves in 1860 was on an average 1,000 per person, about $4 billion. That was
Mm-hmm.
how they were generating, how much revenue that they were generating. When the slavery at the end of the Civil War and when we were emancipated, they indicated that in 1 month the South lost $25 million in production in production revenue.
See, and that's what I'm talking about. If they weren't making that much money from us off our heads, why would they be complaining about how much they lost? You see what I'm saying? Why would they be complaining? That
So
is
the
ridiculous,
richest
man.
state in the entire country in 1860 was Mississippi. That
Mm-mm-mm.
was the richest state from cotton. So don't come over here talking about how we benefited because we didn't get paid. So we
Right.
didn't benefit from nothing.
Mm-hmm. Right. That is true, man. That is true. That is true.
So that's why it's so important. That's why we celebrate Black History Month. That's why we celebrate um, Black Business Month, because the struggles, the obstacles, the challenges that we've encountered since being brought over here to this country has been just incredible. And
Mm-hmm.
so we have to celebrate our attributes. We have to celebrate just small little milestones in our lives.
We have to, man.
We
We
have to
have to.
celebrate that. And because if not, I don't even know, we that we blessed by God, because when you really
Mm-hmm.
think about it, how the heck do we survive what we survive based upon what we've come through and what our ancestors have come through?
Right, right, right.
So that's why we're celebrating this month, and we hope you guys we there's some challenges and some calls to actions we'd like to request of you, not just for this month but for always. We should be always supporting each other. We shouldn't it really doesn't require a special event taking place that we should support each other, because no one else is supporting us. So we
That's
really
right.
have to support ourselves and each other. It's so
Oh,
very important.
we definitely should, and we have to. As a matter of fact, nearly 40% of Black-owned businesses are in healthcare, social assistance, repair and maintenance, and personal and laundry service.
And that's because we did take those skills and we
Mm-hmm.
utilized those skills that was mandatory, that we were beaten to learn how to take. We Those were not like skills we decided. That it's not like going to college, hey, I want to be a laundryist, or
Right,
I want to be a blacksmith, or I want to
right.
pick cotton. Nobody went to cotton woke up one morning and said, hey, you know what, I want to
Yeah,
go pick cotton for somebody else and let them make all the money. So now we ain't benefited for nothing because we didn't
exactly.
choose to do that.
Right,
You
right,
chose
right.
that for us. So, but we made the best out of what happened to us. And yes, when we came out of slavery, the things that we perfected, then they became the skill sets that we utilize in order to survive and take care of ourselves and take care of our families and try to pull ourselves together after 400, 200 years of being enslaved. So,
Hmm. And see, the thing that a lot of these, you know, talking heads who don't understand anything about black businesses, their struggles, you know, their prosperity, how they go about doing things, I think they don't understand is that, you know, they say that uh, scarcity is the mother of all invention.
mhm,
That's how many of these our ancestors, black ancestors, became entrepreneurs, because you didn't have access to these things, so you have to create it. And
mhm.
that's how Madam CJ Walker was able to become famous and successful, because she was losing her hair. Her hair was falling out, and there was
Mhm.
nothing on the market for her, so she had to develop something. She developed a cream that she put in here that will help her hair to grow. And at the same time, there are a lot of black women who are experiencing the same thing. And that's
Right.
how she was able to tap into that target market and was able to provide them with hair care products that help their hair to grow the right way. There wouldn't be any patches on their head, and their hair started growing nicely and beautifully. And that's how she started her business. That's how she launched her business. Became the first female millionaire. I'm not even going to say the first black millionaire. The first female millionaire of all the ethnicities. She
Yeah.
was the first to
Yeah.
generate $1 million in sales. You see what I'm saying? And they wouldn't even allow her to patent her products, because back in the days in 1867, black people were not allowed to patent anything.
No, they
So,
because you were still owned, they still in some cases, with the after slavery, you then had your Jim Crow and sharecropping and all that sort of stuff. So
right.
they still owned you, just
Mm-hmm.
uh, legally they weren't owning you, but yeah, they still owned you and they
Yeah.
owned
Because
everything.
they prevented you from doing what you needed
Right.
to do.
And they tricked you out of it. You knew you couldn't vote, so you weren't even a real
You didn't
person.
have power. You didn't
You
have
weren't a
power because
you
you
had
couldn't
no
vote.
power. And if you were not considered a citizen of the country, a real person, then you couldn't file a patent. So you
Hmm.
actually had to go to someone white in order to get them to file the patent, and then they took it from you. So
They
it's
took it from you, and if they did bite, they'll give you like $5 or maybe $10. You're lucky if you
maybe,
get 15.
yeah, they maybe not. They probably gave you some shoes. Because that's kind of how it happened. But yeah, from the very very beginning, and then I go back and I look at what would happen, when I went to Africa, to Cape Town last year, South Africa last year. Um and then I talk to friends of mine that are from Ghana, and then you think, wow, look what we Africa, based upon all of the natural resources that Africa had, if
Hmm.
this people had not been, millions of billions of his people hadn't been removed, that would be the most wealthiest country in the world, a
Yeah,
continent in the world,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Because that we are ingenious. We put how when I know, when I teach business, uh starting your business, I always start with something that you're good at, something, your passions, your hobbies, your special
Hmm.
interests, the things that innately are common to you, right?
Yeah,
If
yeah,
you can sing, there are people who never took a lesson in their life, but that
yeah,
was a gift that was given to them, right?
yeah, yeah.
And they become, that's what becomes their business.
Right,
Or if you're gifted artists
right.
or carpenters, certain people just were born with certain gifts
talents,
and
right?
certain talents. And those are what usually when I talk to someone about starting a business, that's where you start. When I'm talking to children,
Yeah,
what are you good at?
yeah. What's your talent? What's your gift?
What's your gift? And then utilize that to start a business. And then from there, you identify whether there are problems to be solved. Well,
Right.
obviously, when we were emancipated from slavery, there's a whole lot of problems to solve.
Yeah, a whole lot of problems, a whole lot, a whole lot. And for those of you who are just tuning in, this is the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. We're on every Friday from 3 to 4:30. This is an amazing show, folks. This is a show designed for small businesses, minority, blacks, and other small disadvantaged businesses. And we're here to provide the advice that you don't get from other consultants or other counselors. We're in the trenches with you guys. We've spent over 30 years in the industry working with small businesses, build small businesses, create small businesses, and helping small businesses to grow where they can gain access to contracts and other economic opportunities. So you guys need to tune in every week if you guys want to get, some gems and some knowledge that will help your business along. Guys, you cannot try to work for people anymore. You got to be your own entrepreneur. That's the only way you can be rich. You cannot be rich as an employee. I've never seen an employee who've gotten rich, become a millionaire, unless they're one of those Fortune 500 or Fortune 100 companies where they're siphoning out the money out of the company and they're scamming the people.
Or you happen to be part of the early .comers and you happen to get stock for the company and the company still exists like Facebook. Millionaires are created there, but that is an anomaly. That doesn't normally happen. So if you happen to be of the founding team that was there and they gave you shares, because most of the time you were working for free, so in exchange for money you were getting shares, then you may have become a millionaire by now. But working for someone else, how can you there's a rate that you come in on, and then there's only a 3% increase every year.
And the top 1% runs everything.
And the top 1% runs everything. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to jump over and we're going to do a little commercial break with a product that Gilbert was gifted and talented, and with his gifts and talents and innovation.
That's right.
And, hey, Greg. Hey, Fernando. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to run our little commercial. And then from there, we're going to get on with the topic of National Black Business Month and how it came about and why we should support it and how it benefits us as a people. And we want from here on out, our call to action is we're throwing the hat out.
We're throwing the hat up, baby.
We're throwing the hat out, and we want you to support Black businesses all this month, but also for the rest of the year. How about that?
Hey, you know what was symbolic about that, co-host?
What?
That hat was a black hat too. It's on the black hat. To support Black business, it was a black hat that you got to throw up in the air, so that's the call to action. So folks will come support you.
And even better than that, I don't know, there were so many memes. The internet actually got broke on Monday.
It was
the hat signal. But there was one where the hat went up, and then here came the guy from Wakanda, and it was like Wakanda forever. And then all of the women warriors came running.
That's hilarious, man. That's hilarious.
I was on the floor. Did I hear the rap song? I heard the rap song, Fernando. I heard one Hispanic guy say he was so proud because just like the Mexicans had their Cinco de Mayo, we need to have Cinco Augusto Day, the day of the chair. And it should be a national holiday. Because he said just like they came into Mexico thinking they were gonna clown them, they got clowned. I was on the floor laughing.
Oh man, that is amazing, man. That is a new economic marketing signal right there. You got to get a black hat and a white chair.
and then this one you'll love, Greg. You'll love this because I say this on the community briefing. You no longer have to worry about if there's a chair at the table for you. You bring your own.
You bring your own folding chair. I love this co-host. You know, no longer will they be able to exclude us from the table because we're bringing our own chair.
We're going to bring our own folding chair. How about that?
Oh man, I love it. This is amazing.
Come in with your chair. Scoot over. Please scoot over. I'm going to sit right here in between all of you making decisions about me.
So I can get my piece of the pie.
All right, let's run the video. And then from there, we're going to jump into supporting National
Black Businesses, National Black Business Month.
Right. So here we go. Let's rock the best tool on the marketplace, and all of you should be using it. Greg says, wait, don't let me get the chair on you now.
Oh, look at that. Fernando got a chair there.
All righty, let's do it with a commercial. Keep it coming, guys. Keep it coming.
Organizes your company's paperwork and takes care of all your record keeping? Does your current record keeping system send you 90-day alerts to remind you that your key documents are about to expire and need to be renewed? Can you find contracts and procurement opportunities in seconds from any of the 50 United States so you can grow your business? Is your business organized so that you can tell which key documents are needed to efficiently run the business? How about woman-owned, small business, or disadvantaged business enterprise certifications? Do you have a checklist of all the key documents you need to become certified? Does your current system allow you to conduct market research from multiple sources and provide you industry and market data in seconds? Well, Small Biz Pro does all of that and more. Small Biz Pro is the #1 business management, compliance, procurement assistance, and market research assistance tool on the market today. Download the app now and you will be amazed. It's like having 3 additional employees working for you, but you don't have to pay them. What are you waiting for?
Yeah, what are you waiting for, guys? Go out there and support the Small Biz Pro. And Gilbert, tell them a little bit more how they can go about getting it and how beneficial it is for them.
Folks, having Small Biz Pro is having a tool that you never dreamed you could have. That's a tool that gives you a competitive advantage over many of your competitors, guys. Puts you in a position that you can have the seat at that table. It gives you that folding chair that you can take to the table with you and negotiate a contract deal for your business. Small Biz Pro help you guys to have an idea and track and understand where all your paperwork is, where your documents is. You can access them in 6 seconds or less. You can have access to government contract opportunities, grants, you name it, guys. This is what Small Biz Pro does for you. So who would not want to use a tool like this? Right now, there's nothing out there to help you as a small business to gain an advantage. What I'd like you to do is to think about how many of your competitors you've got a competitive advantage over. And you might be there counting fingers and go, okay, I won maybe, that's it. Can't come up with any more. Small Biz Pro helps you. They said lenders and contract providers said 9 out of 10 lenders and contract providers said companies that use Small Biz Pro have a much better advantage, an opportunity of gaining contracts or lending opportunity from them if you use that. So guys, don't waste your time. Go get it. Help yourself. Get that competitive advantage you need. And I'll put the link in the chat so you guys can go and log in and test the product for yourself to see if it really works and if it gives you that advantage. So go get it, guys. What are you waiting for?
Right. And it's so important because every year I mean, it doesn't matter if you're doing business with other people. Somebody's asking you for your business license. Someone's asking for your a W-9. Someone is asking for information, and a lot of times we miss out on opportunities, especially like in the nonprofit world. You can't find your documents, so therefore you got a deadline for a grant that you're trying to write, or in for the cases of businesses that are doing contractual business, you need to have that information available at your fingertips. So most of us are saving it all over our computers. When you need it, when you really need it, you don't remember what folder you put it in. And especially as you get older in business, man, you can't even remember how to get to your desk sometimes. So having one place to go find that document is absolutely vital to you being successful in business.
That's right. That's right. Don't forget it, guys. We've seen many small businesses come. First of all, many small businesses don't even know if they're ready. They don't even know if they have all the tools, the documents they need. And by using Small Biz Pro, you have an assessment on the homepage that you can go to. Do that assessment. Whether you're a nonprofit, you're a for-profit, or any type of business, you go in there, do your assessment, guys. I'm telling you, you will get a result that will either please you or shock you. It's gonna do one of those two.
For sure. And now, we had a little reprieval where our taxes were not due April 15th or April 19th. You actually had a little breathing for some of you. Some of you went on and complied with the April 19th, but majority of the country.
Yeah, I'm one of those who complied.
You complied.
I don't need Uncle Sam come knocking on my door and say, "Hey, you forgot."
A lot of you are waiting to October 15th. So this is that time. You should be really working on getting your taxes together. Know that your tax people are just inundated right now. So get your information in. Hopefully you've been using Small Biz Pro, and that way all it is a matter of sending them over a profit and loss statement and your balance sheet and a general ledger, and you'll be getting your taxes back in a timely manner. If not, then you guys are going to have that same feeling of defeat that you normally have in April. You're going to have it. You just delayed the gratification.
For the first time in my life, the first time Uncle Sam owed me some money. First time.
Wow.
He owed me some money. I filed the taxes. I got a check back, but my tax preparer said, "Wait, did you get your stimulus check back in 2020 and 21?" I said, "No." He said, "Come on, we got to file an extension. You are due almost $2,000. I'll go, "What?" So I'm waiting for my money now from Uncle Sam. So Uncle Sam, send me my money now, or you're going to send me some interest.
Okay, that's cool. It's always good to get money back, especially that's why we're entrepreneurs, right? So that you can have tons of write-offs that you can get money off, which you really can't do when you're really working for somebody else.
No, all you can't.
We are ready. So this is National Black Business Month. Mm-hmm. We are here to support Black businesses. And so let me tell you a little bit of history on why and how this day came about, right? So it is a time for us to acknowledge and appreciate Black-owned businesses across the nation, and that all of them we are all represented in trying to strive for diversity and equality. And right now, I think that's probably more important than it has been since 1960 during the first civil rights movement, or whenever we start. Because it seems like I heard a statement today from, I think it was from actually Vice President Kamala Harris. She was saying, we are less free than our ancestors were in 2023. Our rights are being removed at a blink of an eye. Affirmative action, and for women,
voting rights,
women having control over their own bodies. It's like we have somehow been put on I don't know, going back in time or something in a time machine that is no longer going forward, it's going backwards. So today in America, it is so important, more important than it ever has been. Even I would say, as we fought through empowerment and diversity and civil rights in the 60s and the 70s, we are losing momentum at a very rapid pace. And so we have to take ownership of ourselves, and we have to take ownership of supporting and creating and generating revenue in our business. So that's why it's so important for us to celebrate Black businesses, to support Black businesses, and move forward. So why do we support it? So there was a guy, his name is Frederick. Let me move to our next slide. Let's here we go. Oops, sorry about that. Sorry about that, guy. Oops, here. Back one. Okay. So the history of Black History Month can be traced back to year 2004, when an engineering entrepreneur, his name is Frederick E. Jordan, partnered with the president and executive editor of a scholarly publishing company called E-Access Corporation, John Williams Templeton, and they started this annual event. Now, in each city, there are also a Black History Month, a business months, like Muhammad Nazruddin, which is the founder of Recycling Black Dollars. He actually implemented a Black Business Month in October in Los Angeles. And I'm sure if we go and we look throughout the country, we will find many other cities that also have a Black History Month. But we celebrated, well, he did it. There were two in Los Angeles. There was one in April, which is the one Muhammad helped implement. And it really came as a result of the Black Business Expo that he, Hal Hambrick and started in Los Angeles. And then there was another one, I think another group created a Black Business Month in October. And so there was another Black Expo that took place at that time in order to support Black businesses. So the intention was to drive policy agenda affecting 2.26 million African American businesses in order to highlight and empower these business owners, and especially given the unique challenges that we face, that is faced by most Black business owners, minority business owners. And so this was stemmed from Jordan's own personal experience of struggling to gain financial backing and funding when he actually began his own firm in San Francisco in 1969. So sometimes we think it's just unique to us in the city that we live in, but it's actually a national problem. Actually, to be quite honest, it's a national problem.
It is.
So since the late 1700s, both free and enslaved people began to open their own small businesses out of necessity, as we talked about at the beginning of it. They opened, they had barbershops, tobacco shops, shoemaking, blacksmith shops, plumbing, you name it. Anything that we did while we were free labor, that's pretty much the businesses that were created after emancipation. So this led to, between the periods of 1900 to 1930, to being the golden age of Black-owned businesses. We could not shop in white stores. So segregation and creating our own businesses was the only way we were going to be able to purchase what we needed in order to live. And so entire districts became Black-owned, such as Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Greenwood in North Carolina. There's so many others. We talk about Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma, but every state where Black folks had been enslaved actually had a Black Wall Street.
Wow, that's amazing.
Right, exactly. And so in 1915, the establishment of the Negro Business League, there was a widespread of support of African American entrepreneurship. So there's a timeline. Whoops, go back here. There's a timeline of how our businesses came about. So in 1898, Black people began owning insurance companies. And not just insurance companies, we also owned funeral homes and parlors. And there was, and I love this guy right here. I'm sure you guys have heard me. If you've been in any of my classes, you've heard me talk about A.E. Gaston. So A.E. Gaston was an American entrepreneur. He started his business in Birmingham, Alabama, right out of slavery. He actually started his, he was born a slave in 1892, and he started his business right out of slavery. And within a year of his business, he was already, during that time, considered a millionaire. And his business was burial plots, but then he created the insurance plans in order to sell the knowing that if you bought a burial plot, you had to be able to pay for it, right? And you had to be able to take care of your family after, especially was the head of the household. So that's what he did. So he had a burial insurance company.
Wow.
And then I don't know about your parents, Gilbert, but I remember my grandmother, my great grandmother, they would buy dimes, using pennies and dimes and nickels to purchase their insurance. So when that time came, at the loss of a loved one, they actually had a burial plot for them.
Hmm. See, with my family, it was a little different. They started paying on those policies, but it wasn't really benefiting them at the time. So they say, I don't need to be spending any more money on this. So they cancel the policy, or they let the policy lapse, and then they do other things. This wasn't insurance, but it was like a. And Gregory knows. He knows
Oh,
what we're talking about. The partner, right?
uh-huh.
Where people pool their money. You got 20 people who pooled $1,000. That's $20,000. So that's how they went about it. And each person would take a turn. So every month, or every week rather, every month they did it every month. So they did $1,000 a month, and then every month somebody will get $20,000. So they use that to invest in their business and try to help. Yeah, so that's what they did.
Oh, so that's what they did instead.
Yeah.
So Arthur G. Gaston was probably the richest Black man in America. He was the leading employer of Blacks in Alabama, and directly and indirectly gave substantial aid and comfort to the civil rights movement. So, one of the what was specific about the Alabama brawl in Montgomery has been the seat of most drama in America.
Yeah.
Martin Luther King, the Walk on Selma, all of that. So
Because it was a slave port.
It was a slave port. So which is even more significant, that young man swimming across the river, because the largest slave port in the country was in Montgomery, Alabama.
Right.
During the time of that. So that's how they began, insurance companies, which makes sense, right? Because most of us have worked at some insurance company in our lives. Gregory, that's his business. When I first started in corporate America, I was in insurance and as well. So a lot of our businesses start there.
Yeah.
1915 was the first Black National League was found.
Wow.
And that league was widespread to support African American entrepreneurship. The league spreading to over 34 states. By 2002, 1.2 million of the United States, 23 million businesses were owned by Black people, bringing in revenue of over $150 billion. How about that for a booming business?
You know what? You know what's unbelievable though? To show how small-minded the ops were back then, there are 23 million blacks who were bringing in revenues by 1915. They didn't see that as an opportunity for revenue, incoming revenue for the city or the county. But instead, they want to fight the blacks, kill the blacks, get rid of the blacks. So it's like they're saying, hey, your revenue don't mean anything to us. Just take it somewhere else. It's ridiculous.
And really, when you talk about $150 billion.
Yes.
So that should make you a viable a citizen of the United States.
Exactly, man. That is just so small, bird brains and small-minded of these government and operating officials. It's ridiculous.
Right. Instead of burning down Black Wall Street, you should have been going, wow, look at this, it's revenue to enhance. But you were so pissed off that they weren't creating that $150 billion for you.
Yeah, exactly. And see, this is how stupid they are, right? So they claim that after the emancipation of slavery, they lost so many millions of dollars, right? Mm-hmm. And they couldn't get the slaves to provide them free labor anymore. So if they were smart, they would have looked at that and said, okay, so we can't really get our free labor, which was done unjustly and inhumanely and illegally and unauthorized under the civil rights of people.
Right.
So what they should say then, okay, since we can't get free labor, then maybe we'll just tax them. Tax their revenues and get some money instead. But no, they were just stupid. They couldn't see that. And so they decided to burn down the stores, the businesses, the homes of these thriving African-American entrepreneurs. It's just ridiculous.
Mainly because you weren't making the money for them. You were making the money, and they didn't want you to succeed so that you would come back to work for them.
Right. It's crazy, man.
So you were able to take your ingenuity and take that to create $150 billion. How dare you? How dare you?
That's ridiculous, man. I can't see their logic at all.
No logic. So in the 1898, the largest insurance company that was established was called North Carolina Mutual Life Insurance Company, and was one of the oldest and most prominent Black-owned insurance companies in the United States. Did you know that, Gregory? And I don't know if it's still if it still exists. So, Greg, if you can see if that still exists, that's pretty cool. But that was the largest insurance company that was established right out of slavery. So, in 1920. Of course, Black Wall Street. That's what we're talking about. Greenwood district of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Affluent Black businesses mushroomed and flourished, and earning the nickname as Black Wall Street. So, as we all know, Black Wall Street is what we would really like to get back to. And I don't know. I'm just one of those people that always felt, I don't know if integration was the best thing for us. I think it was not. I think we would have been much better off staying segregated.
Yeah.
Because when you think about the type of businesses and what was represented in at Black, you had doctors and lawyers and accountants, and so some major facts about Black Wall Street was it was more than 30 city blocks of thriving shops, hotels, theaters, all of them Black owned. The district was founded by Black men and women, and many of them were descendants of slaves, and it became Black Wall Street. So how many businesses were there? There were over 108 Black owned businesses in that 31 square city blocks. They were both professional, retail, entertainment. So everything that we needed, we had our own bank. There were doctors and lawyers that actually had their own private planes.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
that was how they couldn't travel on. They had their own railway. They had
Right.
everything themselves because they couldn't travel and participate on anything that was white owned. They're saying that there were a number of traders and that were part of that. They were bankers and financiers and brokers. So that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely amazing that we participated in the our own financial wellness. We took care of ourselves, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so I've ever, when I was a kid and we were learning about integration, and I always told my mom we should have stayed segregated.
I get you, man. I get you, because we would have seen um, separate but equal, and we'd see
Uh-huh.
people focusing on certain things. We wouldn't have to feel like we're stepping in other people's lane. They wouldn't be stepping in our lane. We could be thriving. And here's what I think. If using this analogy, right, the what you're prescribing,
Mm-hmm.
and looking at previous shows that we've done with the Marcus Garvey Buy Black movement, we would be encouraged to do business internationally with other African American nations instead of doing it here in the US with folks who don't want to do business with us. You see what I'm saying? And now if we have the attention of the international market, then our revenues could have skyrocketed. So I agree with you that, yeah, we should have stayed segregated and do what we do. Because
Yeah.
we wouldn't have to worry, there at the time it probably was about 150 million people in the US at the time, right?
Right.
And in the world, there are billions of people. So
Right.
the
Exactly.
African continent alone had about 1 billion people at that time.
Right.
So we could have benefited, man, separate but equal.
Yeah, Greg says segregation never ended. That and this is true, in the inner cities we were segregated. I know when I lived in New York, when the place I was born, everyone around me was black. All
Wow.
stores were black.
Mhm.
Everywhere we shopped was black.
Yeah.
Greg, you were from New York City as well. You had, in Brooklyn or Bronx or Harlem, it was all segregated, right? So, and in the South, if you were in Alabama, or you had no choice, you had to stay separate because it wasn't safe for you to go anywhere else.
Right.
You couldn't roam the countryside. You had to stay where you felt safe.
Yeah.
And even when we did get to a place where we were traveling, we had to remember the Green Book. You had to know where it was safe for you to stay. Entertainers, they had to stay in black areas. They couldn't stay in white, no matter how big they were.
Right.
Hey, Timothy, love seeing my advisor speak. What would the housing timeline look like for black people? Well, actually, I know my grandmother owned her own home. All my relatives own their own home in the South.
And as far as the housing timeline, one of the things that we've seen in these statistics that we're spitting out to you guys today, the lower 40%, we talked about that nearly 40% of black-owned businesses are in healthcare, social assistance, repair and maintenance, personal and laundry services. The upper 60%, they're in advertising, auto dealership, consulting services, like my co-host and I. We're in the upper 60%, and Greg too. Restaurants, barbershop, beauty salon, and real estate. So if you're looking at the trend and the outlook for real estate, it's going to look good. We just need to have disciplined, well-organized approaches to real estate and focus more on commercial real estate than just residential. Commercial real estate is where the money is. If we do that, guys, we'll be making our impact.
Right, exactly. So, and even there was an impact I'm reading here, Gilbert. We think, and sometimes, it frustrates me because, when my businesses are so small, they're thinking so small and not innovative and disruptive.
Mm-hmm.
But there were times, in the early, I'm reading here, it took 170 years after the New York Stock Exchange, that because it was for a black firm to take a seat. So it took
Mm-hmm.
100, but after that, there were many black financiers that were actually broke through and the color line, and they were in black securities. I think there's about 11 of them that actually founded black security firms, women and men,
Mm-hmm.
over the time. So we just need to be more invested in our history and understanding that
Yeah.
there were those that were before us that were, I mean, they we're brilliant people, first of
Mm-hmm.
all,
Yeah.
and we can make something out of nothing. So in the 1880s, the one that most of us knew about, especially if you lived here in California,
Yeah.
Reginald Lewis is the first African American to build a billion-dollar company. It was the TLC International Holding. It was a food company that was out
Mm-hmm.
here in, I think, the city of Commerce.
Mm-hmm.
He died. I think I recall him dying in the late 90s or early 2000s, and he left his business to his wife, who was a Filipino woman.
Mm-hmm.
But he had a food business, canning business, but he was a billionaire. So there are a number of books out there about Reginald Lewis. So if you guys don't know about him, especially our younger Gen Zs, millennials, go back and really study our history, because we have always been incredible business people.
And we were forced to do this. I think first of all, it's been in our genes because back in the motherland, we were trading, bartering stuff, so we had that entrepreneurial spirit, from the jump. But because we were cornered and forced into this situation where they're stepping on our throat and torturing us and telling us, hey, you can't do this and that. You know us. We defy the man. Whatever the ops tell us, we're defying it. So they're telling us you can't do this. We say, we're going to create our own business. We're going to sell to our own people. We've got our target demographic. We know what they need. We've done our studies and our researches. All of us, we know that when you reach out to the family start telling you, what the needs are. And then you go in other communities, you see they got the same needs. Hey, this is a common need. This is a pain point that needs to be addressed. And that's how many of us start our entrepreneurial journey.
Right.
So it's just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Exactly. So Timothy asked a question. What are the black media outlets that we need to know about right now? So obviously, those of us that have podcasts, and there are many of us, so the Business Zone, and there's so many others out there that we should be following and supporting by subscribing to them. So that
That's true. That's true, guys. You need to follow us. You need to follow us because we're pretty much the ones locally that's providing you access to a lot of opportunities, you know, and uh, and we can provide you resources too. Now, the other podcast I've been checking out with a gentleman by the name of Wallo, 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 right?
Mhm.
This guy was in prison for 20 years. This black dude was in prison for 20 years for whatever reason. Then he came out. I think he came out 6 years ago. And that dude is now almost a billionaire. He's a mogul. Is a social media mogul. Okay.
Mhm.
This guy works for YouTube in the cultural affairs department. His responsibility is to show black and minority entrepreneurs how to make their business work on YouTube, guys. You need to go on YouTube and go to podcasts and type the name Wallo, Wallo. That guy will give you some game. He'll show you how to do this. And after my co-host finish her presentation, I'm going to give you guys some stats on podcasts, that you guys can benefit from as well. So go
And
ahead, Deborah.
I say, Gilbert, and there are a lot of podcasts out there that are just sprouting out just incredible information. What we should be doing is supporting every Black podcast out there, making sure that we help them to monetize their platforms so they can continue to bring you content. In a time frame in 2023 where people are probably trying to shut down our history, this is the time that we need to be aggressive about getting information out to the people that we know need this information. If we don't tell our own history, then we're going to get their history. Them telling our history, telling us that slavery benefited us. But we can come back and counteract that because we know darn well that's not true, right?
No, they kill millions of us. What are they talking about? How did that benefit us?
So we need to take control over our media. So go out and support. And if you have ideas and you have information to share with us, start your own podcast and we'll follow you. We can make sure that our history stays preserved and that our younger generations understand where our people came from. If our ancestors could do it right out of slavery, there ain't no reason in the world we can't do it because we're smarter and we have more resources than our ancestors did, right?
Exactly. And also, I just want to add this real quickly. Many folks who talked about getting involved in podcasts and media, the media was the one platform that was removed from us as minorities that we really didn't have access to in other words, spread the word to people in our community. Now we do have access to that, so we got to galvanize around that and make it work for us. Another thing I want you guys to know, that's going to be a new release here on this business zone in a couple of months. We're going to start advertising for you small businesses. We're going to showcase your business. So each one of you guys will come on the show, or you'll pay for an ad space, and we will showcase your business around the world to other clients and customers who want to purchase your product and services. And we're not going to charge you an arm and a leg like many of the other media outlets. So I just want to let you guys know, guys, we're looking out for you, and we're going to do our presentation so much differently. When we present you in a nice, comprehensive way, maybe a 60-second commercial or so on your business. You don't have to do anything. We'll take care of all of that. So just so you know that.
Awesome. So here's some facts for you guys. What is the largest Black-owned business as of 2020, June 2020? Real estate investment company called RLJ Lodging Trust is one of the largest Black-owned public businesses. That's public, which means it's trading on the stock market. So you guys need to go buy some stock.
So and they're worth what, $5.2 billion?
$5.9 billion.
Yeah.
Other notable big companies include Wide World Technologies, a global tech consulting firm. Sandameldo Resort and Spa, which is owned by Sheila Johnson. She's the co-founder of BET. And Act One is the largest privately held, women-owned, and minority-owned workforce management company in the United States. Act One actually was a major supporter of recycling Black dollars when Muhammad Nasruddin was alive. She loved Muhammad. So, but Worldwide Tech actually is a privately owned company, and it's worth $17 billion. Now that's playing in the big leagues. That's what business is supposed to look like, right?
Yeah.
So, what are some famous Black-owned businesses? We have Johnson & Johnson, which of course was a media outlet, publishing company, Ebony Magazine. They reached millions.
We got Rihanna's, right?
And then Rihanna, Fendi, and then the Tahala Waji's hair care company that fills very real needs for Black consumers. And of course, Black business exists in every category. You have Oprah Winfrey, you have all of the athletes now have major, well, a great deal of them have major businesses. Shaq owns, I don't even know, the man has probably 17, 18 businesses.
Yeah, he has more, man. He has about 50 businesses.
Yeah, fist of
You know,
businesses.
it's unbelievable, and he even had the rights to a lot of things. Yeah, he had the rights to Marilyn Monroe and all of that. I didn't even know those things. You see what I'm saying?
Who is it? Tyler Perry. He owns his own
Oh man,
studio.
Tyler Perry is so amazing. His studios are booked out for at least a year and a half in advance, and you got producers and directors such as Marvel and all of those. They're booking time with him. Now, before it was him booking time with those people. Now they're booking time with him. So that's just amazing, man.
Right. And Magic Johnson, we all know Magic Johnson. He has an amazing. I went to a meeting where his staff had put on with Glack, and that was probably my first introduction to Glack at the time. So what Magic's strategy is, he kind of operates like Warren Buffett. He buys into businesses that are must-haves, like uniforms businesses that provide uniforms for all of the workforce.
Yeah.
Then he takes those businesses, he stays with them for a while, but then he parlays them into another business later on. So if it's my understanding, he just bought what he bought into the Dodgers, but I think if it's my understanding, he is just making a big investment in another business right now as well. I think he has ownership into a couple of basketball.
He was part ownership of the Lakers. I think he owned about 4%.
Right. So he partners up with others and he buys in. Let me see how many businesses he owns. He also is one of those, and I love it. And you would hope that other young athletes are following in his footsteps. So Magic Johnson Enterprise owned more than 100 Starbucks from 1988 to 2010. He sold them and made $100 million.
Fat Burger.
He's owned, let's see, the Lakers, movie theaters, restaurants, Fridays, Sodex, Burger King locations, and I believe the same thing with Magic. Magic Johnson is a very smart man.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else did he own? 31 Burger Kings, some 24-hour fitness. He owns a insurance company called Equitrust. He pours money back into the Lakers. So yeah, very bright man, as well as Byron Allen. Him and Tyler Perry are vying. I don't know who's going to get the
majority
the
stake.
BET, but him and Byron, I think actually Byron got it, if it's my understanding. So Byron Allen is busy buying. Not to say Michael Jordan, he owns tons of businesses in Chicago. So they've actually been able to parlay their money and take it to another level to invest back into their community. Some of them are very quiet about it. My understanding that Prince, before he died, was very instrumental in the city he was born, that he grew up in Minnesota. So I love to hear. All right, Greg, thank you for joining us. So why is it important to support Black businesses? So buying from Black businesses, as well as many small businesses, really help to level the economic playing field and subsequently boost communities of color in varieties of ways. And if you have a business, if you own the property that your business is in, now you have say-so what's going to happen in the community that you're in, right?
Also provide you assets.
And provide you with assets and provide you with additional revenue, because if you own a building, you can lease that building out, portions of that building out to create and generate other revenue sources for yourself besides just the business that you're in. So supporting Black businesses is supporting Black communities, and you become an ally in helping to elevate, empower, employ, and provide services to people that live in your community. It will help you grow your business. So that's why it's so important that we support each other and support our business. And in the words of Muhammad Nazardine, we need to recycle Black dollars because our dollars stay in our community for less than 6 hours. That's absolutely ludicrous.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. And that's why we need to support the Black businesses around. We may not like some of them. We may not like the owners. We may not, may not feel their vibe. But I always say, and this is one thing I learned in counseling when I was in grad school, that there is a thing called unconditional positive regard. That means irrespective of how you feel about someone, you should be willing to help them and support them in a time of need. Now, for some people, I know this is very difficult. And when I say unconditional positive regard, I'm talking about if you find out that someone has hurt your family, you still should be able to help that person. That's unconditional positive regard right there. You see what I'm saying? That's really difficult for a lot of people to do. If someone hurt your family, you go, heck no, I'm not going to save their life. I'm going to kill them because they killed my family too. So that's really difficult. If we can do a fraction of that unconditional positive regard, where even though we may not like someone, we support them anyway, because one, they're helping the culture, they're helping the community, and more than likely, they're close to assisting our legacy so it can continue on. So that's how we got to look at this. Now, I also want to look at, we just name off some big time, high level, top value entrepreneurs in the Black community. I would like to address some I don't want to say lower level,
or
but
smaller
not,
businesses,
not as accomplished entrepreneurs who are on their way. And one of them is my co-host herself, Crystal Mitchell. If you guys don't know who she is, she is the person I'm on this show with right now. She is my co-host. She runs bookkeeping, accounting, speakership, event planning business that she goes out and she helps the community. She also runs an organization called Recycling Black Dollars. Many of you have heard of that. She is the co-executive director of that, and she's been doing whatever she can to help Black businesses become empowered and be able to understand how they can advance and get their piece of the pie. Okay? I'm not even going to talk about myself, but I'll talk about her because she's been working endlessly throughout this community trying to help other small businesses, and she needs to be recognized. So, co-host, I want to put you out there. I want to put you on this international platform right now. So all the people in Southern California, all the people in the nation, the United States, and all the people overseas, South Africa, we're talking Nigeria, we're talking Ghana, we're talking Egypt, we're talking Canada. All those people know that Crystal Mitchell is one of the movers and shakers in this community when it comes to assisting, helping to grow, and helping to empower Black entrepreneurs. She has a show called Community Briefing. Every Thursday at 11 o'clock, she has this show, and she brings a lot of powerful community leaders together so they can share resources and information that will help you guys grow. So I want to put her out there. She don't want to do it to herself, so I'll do it for her. And I'll let you guys all know that you need to support her as well. And our anniversary, our 7th year anniversary was August 7th. and we're going to be celebrating it in September. So she's going to take a little breather and go on a little business trip.
A vacation, actually.
Oh,
No
it's a
business.
vacation.
Is a vacation.
a little business vacation.
Yes.
She's going on a business vacation to Egypt. And when she gets back in September, guys, we're going to be hosting, we're going to do our anniversary. We're going to do an anniversary event in the Los Angeles area. And we're going to invite all of you guys to come, because what we're going to be offering to you guys is going to be mind-blowing. I just want to let you guys know that. So don't you forget, we'll put the date out there and we'll let you guys all know about what my co-host Crystal and I are doing in celebration of our 7th year being on the air together. And, Crystal, I think you should tell the story about how you came about this idea of the business zone. Why don't you tell it to the nation?
Well, actually, it has a lot
And the
to
world.
do with it had a lot to do with recycling black dollars. Where's the party at? Recycling black dollars. One of the things that was very important to Muhammad was us being able to tell our own narrative, and so he had a show. And so at the time, I was looking at recycling black dollars, how to make sure we stayed how we stayed relevant. So I thought, well, why don't I do that? And also I saw it as an incredible marketing tool for being able to help expand my brand. But I didn't want to do it by myself. So I had to find someone that complimented me. And I had worked with Gilbert. And again, I'm all about collaboration, right? So I'm all about partnership and working together in order to enhance all bodies that are working together. And so Gilbert and I had been doing some things together, and I liked the way he did business, and I respected his knowledge, and he's just a guru in the space that he's in, which is the contract and minorities contracts. And so I thought, wow, we could do this together. Between the both of us, we have extensive information, and we like serving, and we are passionate about what we do. So that was kind of the beginning of the business zone, and it just worked out really well. So 7 years later, here we are, the short and skinny of it. And then I think media is the avenue for us as Black people. So during the pandemic, I also know that we also get information when it's too late and it's stale and you can't do anything with it to grow, to access capital for your business. So that was the purpose of the community briefing, was to make sure we were getting information in real time. And I love researching, and I love talking, and I love teaching. And so this is a great platform for that. So that's the history behind the business zone and the community briefing.
Excellent. So now you guys know how the business zone got started, right? And if minorities and Black businesses are not in media, then we don't have a seat at the table. Remember, if we don't have a seat at the table, we got to bring our folding chair, and that's what we did. We started our podcast by bringing our seat to the table, and that's really what's been taking off and how it's been. Now, you guys might be saying, well, I don't know, podcast, what is a podcast? How does that work? How does that help me? Well, let me tell you this. There are over 3 million podcasts out there. 3 million. And that's according to Listen Notes. Listen Notes is an organization that track and monitor these things, okay? And then there's another organization called Amplify and Pod News. They also track and monitor podcasts, and they'll tell you, trends and what's going on, how effectiveness these things are. Now, 44% of those 3 million podcasts, they have at least 3 episodes. 44%. Now, only 720,000 of those podcasts have more than 10 episodes, guys. I'm leading to somewhere. I want you to listen to this. I'm leading to somewhere, guys. Only 720,000 of those 3 million podcasts have more than 10 episodes that they broadcast. Now, only 156,000 of that 720,000, right, are releasing weekly episodes like the Business Zone. The Business Zone, we release episodes every week, and we do have little clips and shorts that we also release as well. But we are in that 150,000 category, guys. Now, if you calculate that 150,000 out of 3 million, that puts us in the top half of 1% of podcasters. That's 0.052% of podcasters. You hear me? I'm going to say it again. We are in the top 0.5% of podcasters, the Business Zone. And that's for podcasters who are doing more than 10 episodes a week. We have over 700 videos, guys, on YouTube. Over 700 videos. We've been doing this for 7 years, and we broadcast weekly. So what does that tell you? That we are providing a service that's really, really valuable to small, minority, disadvantaged businesses out there. You want to check this out, guys. We provide a lot of facts, a lot of research, a lot of access to resources. And with all of those, we have about 80,000 people listening to podcasts on a weekly basis. Now, we haven't got to that $1 million level yet. We're working towards it.
Well, if they go over and subscribe, we can get closer to it.
Exactly. And that's why we're gonna, when we launch our annual anniversary celebration event in September, when we do that, guys, we're gonna start a trend. We're gonna start doing public events and appearances. And we're expecting you guys to be there. We're expecting you guys to support us and subscribe to our platform so we can provide more information to you entrepreneurs in the community. You see what I'm saying? This is how Black businesses work, guys. This is how it works.
Exactly. So we want to make sure that you guys, so even for your business, create a podcast. It really does help expand your brand, build your brand, but it also is another revenue. If you monetize it as you're building your audience, is another way to generate revenue for your business. So shout out, thank you, Timothy, and the Black Business of Los Angeles. Yeah, bring your own seat, guys.
And a black hat.
And a black hat, right. Bring your black seat, bring your own seat and bring your black hat. So in support, as you were real wielding that black hat, how to observe Black Business Month. We want to make sure we're supporting Black businesses. So do a search on the internet, and you also can reach out to Recycle Black Dollars. We have a Black directory that is updated every year with Black businesses here in Los Angeles, but you can go on the internet and you can search out Black-owned businesses. Actually, you can go to Amazon and put in the search engine for Black-owned businesses that are actually hosting their stores on Shopify, Amazon, eBay, any of the other e-commerce outlets out there, and you can support Black businesses that way. You read about Black entrepreneurs. There are some amazing stories out there. There are tons of literature. So read about them, understand who they are. There's several books, and there's a link right here. I can provide that for you guys. Just reach out to me. But you have The Black Wealth, The Black Choice, The Black Fortune. That's an awesome book. It talks about the wealthiest Black people in the era right after slavery, and all the way up to Madam C.J. Walker. So that's one way. Try Black Friday, Black Food Fridays. Look no further than hashtag Black Food Fridays on Instagram to be part of the super cool movement started by Charleston, South Carolina writer, activist, and innovator KJ Carey. The aim of the movement is simple: to direct people's attention to Black-owned restaurants all over the country. The idea is now developing into a business with apps like Eat Okra is also doing the same thing. So support Black businesses. We make the best food in the world. Fernando says we have a Black business up Shopify coming at the end of the month. Well,
beautiful.
Fernando, you need to come on the
You
business
need to
zone.
come
I don't know
on
what
the
the heck is
business
the
zone.
problem.
What's wrong with you, my brother? Why are you staying away from us? Get on the show so you can tell them about your program, man.
Yeah, come on and tell us about that, right? So there are more than 50 Black-owned e-commerce businesses to support. So go out there, Google them, go on the internet and find them. And then we have a new one coming up. Mr. Fernando is going to have one on Shopify. So we want to support you, Fernando. That's why you need to come on and talk to us as you are launching that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some very important facts that we're going to end up in the show with is 5 important facts that about disparity in Black businesses. The ratios matter. Studies show that median wealth held by white families to Black families is 10-1, right? Unemployment. Historically, twice as many Black people have been unemployed than white people. Wage disparity affects generations. There is a greater likelihood that Black children will live in poverty as compared to white children. Home ownership, only 42% of Black families own their own homes as compared to 73% of white families. School to prison trajectory. African Americans are 6 times more likely to be incarcerated than their white counterparts. So it is so important that we change our mindset and our thought process and supporting each other. It will. These are very important facts right here, guys. Black ownership. John Bryant from Operation Hope. He talks about this all the time. He has a video that went live just after the Alabama brawl, and he talks about money talks.
Yeah.
Money talks loud. And if you have money, look at the former president. If it wasn't, the man didn't have money, we wouldn't be listening to him every 10 seconds on television.
That's true.
If he didn't have access to other people's money, we wouldn't be listening to him every 2 minutes on television. There would be no way as a Black man you could have 82 counts against you, federal indictments, and you would be able to run for president. If this was Obama, this would not have been happening.
That's right.
Right? So money talks louder than anything else out there. We have the ability to generate a massive wealth in this country. We also have the ability to take all of our percentage of I think if we actually connected with the continent of Africa, we would make up 70% of the population. We'd be the majority. A combination, a collaboration of us speaking and working together changes the landscape of what we go through and the challenges and obstacles that we are faced with. That is why August 5th was so important, because we saw the uniting of people coming to the aid of another Black man out there. Yeah. And that felt so empowering. But we don't need to just do it in those incidents. We need to do it in every aspect of our lives. Our children, our future children their lives depend on us coming together. We're standing on the edge of a mountain, a cliff right now, and there are no other opportunities for us. We need to connect. We need to support each other. We need to learn everything that there is about each other, and we need to uplift and empower each other, because there is a force out there that's looking to make us non-existent. So by supporting each other, we support Black pride, unity, and self-determination. While we're going through so many intimidating challenges. We are the Black owned entrepreneurship is the tool to survival in a world that does not want us to win. We can defy that just like our ancestors did. Right out of slavery, we've talked about this. There were millionaires created out of necessity. We can do the same thing today for us as we go forward, but it requires us standing in unity, standing together, making sure that we are helping our brethren move forward. So I'm throwing the black hat out. And I'm asking all of you to throw your black hat out. And I'm asking you to support each other and to build a better place for our children for the future.
If there's no sense of emergency right now, guys, I want you to just put this picture in your mind, and maybe it will create some level of emergency for you. You got to do this as a legacy for your kids and your grandkids. Okay? There's no other way your kids and grandkids are going to live a better life than if you create a legacy for them. No one else is going to come along and take care of your kids and grandkids for you. So if this isn't something that creates some level of emergency for you, then I don't know what else we can say. But you definitely need to look at entrepreneurship as a form of legacy for your kids, your grandkids, and for their kids. That's how we got to do this. And in saying this, I also want you guys to understand this. There is a difference between richness and wealth. Okay? The difference between being rich and being wealthy. All right? When you're wealthy, you're thinking about legacy. When you're rich, you might be here today and your money will go away tomorrow. But when you're wealthy, that's generational wealth. It passes down. So keep that in mind, guys. Keep that in mind. And when you're thinking entrepreneurship, I want you guys also to think about government contracts. Just remember this. They take our money from us in any which way they can, through taxes, through permits, through all kinds of means. Don't you think you deserve to get it back? And one way that you get it back is through contracting. You want to get those contracts awarded to you that wouldn't normally be awarded to you, so that then you can hire people, you can build a community, helps a family to put food on their table. That's why you want to do this thing, guys. So you want to go after some government contracts so you can help the community and you can help to build that generational wealth that you need to. And that's my black hat that I'm throwing out there today, guys. That's my black hat. On the Business Zone, you've been watching and listening to us all day today from 3 to 4:30. The Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. We're on every Friday from 3 to 4:30. And you can catch us on YouTube Live, LinkedIn Live, Facebook Live, and we're working on all the platforms. And remember this, guys. In September, we'll be celebrating our 7th year anniversary in this business on this podcast. When my co-host comes back from Egypt and she's renewed and fresh and feeling good again, we can do the celebration. And guys, you're going to benefit from this because we're going to launch some new additions to the Business Zone where you guys can benefit from it. Like I say, many of you will get to advertise your business here live on the Business Zone. So it gets broadcast all over the county, all over the state, all over the nation, and the world. So people will be buying your products. You'll be sitting and watching your merchant accounts going cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching while you're sleeping. People are purchasing your product and services, guys. So that's what the Business Zone does for small businesses. We help to build on successful entrepreneurs.
Exactly. And so we're going to wrap up the show today, and we're going to close out with why is it important. So Black Business Month is very important because it champions equity. By us supporting each other and each other's business, we ensure that Black businesses get the recognition and the patrons they so richly deserve to have, especially if they're struggling to stay afloat. To celebrate Black-owned businesses and empower more people from the African American communities to dream big and bring their own entrepreneurial journeys, and we would love to empower all of them. It helps each one of us grow to be what we need to be successful in our communities, and it helps us to support our communities. It helps us to make sure that our kids are being educated in the manner they should be educated so they too can have a successful and fruitful life. And it also will create a place, it forces inclusivity and diversity. So we don't have to fight for that if we're supporting each other.
Yeah.
Our numbers, our sheer numbers and unity will make that happen. We don't have to beg anyone for anything if we support ourselves. So with that, Gilbert, I think it's been a great show. And we want to thank Fernando. Fernando said he's coming in swimming. What? So Fernando's coming in the Black
Aquaman.
There are those of us that's going to be carrying and wearing our black hats to support for each other. We're all bringing our chairs to be at every table.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
See you, Timothy. Come on back. Make sure you guys go over to the Business Zone YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, and we will be back here. Or actually, we will be running a rerun next week because I will be getting on a plane and heading out to Egypt next Friday.
She'll be talking to the Egyptian president, guys.
So I'll be there, but we will make sure that we have a show going on. It might be this show. I don't want to do that. It might be this show rerun for next week, but we want you to go out, guys, and support each other, support all Black businesses this month, and to give them a leg up. And if you have anything going on, let us know. I have a pretty active social media platform, and would love to make sure that all your events this month are supported by us. There are a couple of things you guys should be aware of. Tomorrow in Inglewood will be a TED Talk X. Inglewood's will have 6 amazing young people, speakers speaking on topics that they've selected for their TEDx. So it's going to be in the city of Inglewood. You can check it out. Let me see if I can find the details. We had Rashonda on. We had Rashonda on last week, and she talked to us about TEDx. So it's my understanding that they are over there right now putting up their getting everything all ready. So TED Talk Inglewood is a independently organized TED Talk event. It is taking place August 12th at the in Inglewood. So you can go on to their website and TEDx in Inglewood, and you can get the details. So they have 6 amazing speakers tonight, and I think you can still get tickets. So tomorrow, August 12th, I believe is going on from 12 to 1. They're not selling tickets at the door, I see. You have to go online. It's from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock tomorrow at the Miracle Theater in Inglewood.
Beautiful,
all right.
Beautiful. Well, folks, it's been real. We really appreciate you supporting us and joining this show today on National Black Business Month. And just keep on supporting each other in the community. This is going to be great growth economically for your business and others. If you keep doing that, if you don't support, then it's just going to, hinder your ability to grow. So keep that in mind, guys. And with that being said, co-host,
ready to rock it out.
We're going to check out. So we'll see you guys soon. Remember, next week we'll do a rerun of the show. So, and you guys you will not be disappointed. You'll see it a great show. And then the week after that, my co-host will be back, and she'll be fresh from Egypt with some new nuggets for all of you. And we look forward to that.
All right. See you guys soon.
As a small biz pro, I saw we roll, using procurement, program, and control. As a small biz pro, I saw we grow, using procurement, program, and control. I'm a businessman.